All right, another Mansformation podcast. This time we are talking about one of my favourite subjects, actually, because it's a subject that this yields so many results for the guys when they nail it. All right, and we're talking about sleep and how it is a performance multiplier. And I suppose really we want to just dissect, first of all, why sleep is actually the secret weapon, right? And it improves energy. All right, you wake up feeling fresh, you've got more energy. That energy can then be used for training. It can just use for getting more steps in, doing more cardio, just having a bit of get up and go about you a little bit more than when you're feeling tired, right? It kills cravings. Like, there's so many people that were snackers that once they actually start sleeping better and they've got a better level of energy, and I suppose it all kind of comes back to energy, right? But once they've got that little bit of extra energy, they don't feel the need to reach for snacks, because essentially when we're snacking, what are we doing? We're reaching for sugar or caffeine beverages and stuff like this. And we're doing that because we need more energy. But if we've got that from sleep, that just negates the cravings. So, there are a couple to start with, I suppose, there's others as well. I mean, lowering cortisol, lowering stress, that's a huge one.
Going to drive your testosterone down equally.
Exactly. It's going to, that's going to improve. That alone is huge, isn't it? Because if we can lower our cortisol and lower our stress levels, so many of the guys, how many people come to our program and they're stressed out, right? The businessmen, dads, a lot going on, a lot of responsibility for guys. When they're at work and they still got to be a good dad and a good husband and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot of pressure on them and a lot of stress, and like you say, a lot of the guys we speak to, not same in every house, but a lot of the guys we speak to and a lot of guys we work with, they take a lot of the stress on the shoulders and they take it upon themselves to carry that, that is going to diminish your testosterone levels. So if you can have something that's going to help lower them cortisol levels down and improve the testosterone levels, obviously once testosterone levels up, now we're building more muscle, now we're burning more body fat, now we've just got better sex drive and better, like you said, just get up and go and a bit more drive in life. So that's super important. And I mean, you feel it yourself, don't you? If you go train early morning, you've had a good night's sleep, you feel unstoppable. And sometimes if you don't and you go to the gym, you're literally dragging yourself through the process.
Well, like you say, I think it makes you ready for every single day. And I think we've always spoke about this, haven't we? It's like when you're tired, you're not really ready to take on many situations. If something chaotic happens within that day, it kind of, I'll avoid that. Whereas when you do it, you're bursting, you're ready to go and you can take on anything. And like anything, the whole performance stat in it, if someone has less than 6 hours, like if someone's done like a 12-week training camp or something and then they have 6 hours or less the night before, the performance drops by something like 45%. And I think that's just a huge statistic in itself of that. It's so underutilised, and it's like, what's the book say that you've read? That if you could bottle it up, it'd probably be the most used drug in the world.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if anyone is interested in sleep, there's the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Great book. It's probably like the Bible for sleep for a lot of people. But yeah, he said when he was talking on a podcast once that if you could actually bottle up the effects of good sleep, improve strength, improve body fat, improve sex drive, improve energy, improve mental focus, all this sort of stuff, people would be queuing out the door to get their hands on that, and it would be actually an illegal substance, and a banned substance, because the performance enhancing effects of it are just too good. And like you say, incredible statistic about how much your performance drops. But statistics aside, I felt it myself. You feel it when sometimes, because I'll train at 7 a.m. Yeah, so I jump in one of my clients at 7 a.m. majority of the days, and I'll train with one of my clients. Now I know that I can tell when I'm feeling weak, and I can tell when I'm literally dragging myself through the session if something's happening. We're filming this in August. We're in a little mini heat wave right now. I actually slept like shit last night, right? Do you know what I mean? It was so warm, it was so clammy, it was horrible. And then that's affected today how I've gone and trained. I could feel it, and it wasn't just me, it was my other clients that were coming in. I was like, I just don't feel as strong today. I don't feel as up for it today. I was like, how'd you sleep last night? And he's like, actually like shit. Do you know what I mean? So I had the fan on and my duvet was off and I was all over the shop and I was very restless. That's why. So, actually understanding that sleep is not a expendable commodity that we can just go, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'll do this later, right? We've all said it right in the past. And I'm the worst for it, In fact, it was one of my pals that put me onto Matthew Walker's book, and he said, you read that, he says, and it will change the way that you look at sleep forever. Because I was always like, I got shit to do. I've got stuff I need to be doing. I ain't got time for this sleep lap. Do you know what I mean? I need to be pushing on and doing more. And actually, certainly as I get older, you realise it's even more important. But back then, once I listened to, read that book and I listened to the audio as well, it really starts to drive home how important it is. And then the more that you understand about a topic, and the more you realise, wow, I was really naive over that. Like you say, it opens up all these doors, and like you say, you fully understand, the benefits of it.
It's not just that as well, innit? It's the lack of sleep we get now will also affect us later on in life. So it's like certain ages, when we get to certain ages, like Alzheimer's and stuff like that, there is studies that show that
massively
getting, like, I know myself, I used to work shifts. So it's like, obviously, one good thing about obviously coming to do what I do with you now as well is I got away from them, because I think it's broadly said, if you do 10 years, like, I think it takes 10 years off your life if you do so many, they say, or like you're more prone to Alzheimer's and stuff like that. I was doing nights, I was chopping and changing. My body clock never was regimented or routine. So I always used to struggle with that. But I think as well, when we have the guys and we talk to them, and it's like, if we give someone the list of what they will gain by sleeping more, I'd have that. But then we'll go to bed an hour earlier. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get it. But it's like, when we've just said if it was a drug, we'd all probably try to take it. But it's like, then I say to someone, well, just don't watch Netflix then tonight and go to bed. And it's like...
Oh, mate. Do you know, honestly, right, so I've had clients, and we're not going to name names here, right? But I've had clients in the past, and they will stay up like every night, go midnight. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, you're eating like shit, and it's a result of being hungry, being tired, and that's why you're more hungry, and that's why you're craving crap and quick energy, and it's like, there's no reason. Like, what are you doing? Like, go to bed at 10 o'clock. Like, you want to come in the gym in the morning, and he's still doing this. He's still pushing himself to come in the gym, this client, but he wouldn't go to bed till whatever time. Sometimes you fall asleep on the sofa, get up at 3 a.m, and then make his way to bed. So that's, again, just, it's like if you've done that in the past, and then you've got to get yourself up and get yourself upstairs, and you've then woken up a little bit. It takes you a little bit to get back off, and it's a terrible way to sleep, right? And it was impacting his performance so much, and that would have, he didn't actually manage to get grips with it properly, but if he had done it, it would have been an absolute game changer for him. Because I've seen the guys that have improved the sleep, we've seen it in the program. We've seen the guys that have done it, and the benefits to get from it is huge.
Massive. And like you say, said person, it was like, I can imagine that they're not getting up on the morning and then getting out and getting the meal prep and getting the water. I can imagine that it's probably like snooze, like shit.
Rush like fuck, yeah.
I need to be at that gym with Stu in 10 minutes time, and I've got a 15-minute drive. So it's like, clothes on. That chaos then just goes from 6 a.m. into your day, and everything is a shit show.
And how have you started your day by spiking your cortisol, and now you're stressed. And again, we've gone back to say at the start, the higher the cortisol, it's tanking your testosterone. That's going to impair how you build muscle and burn fat and all the rest of the good stuff that the testosterone does. It just kills it.
So obviously, as your cortisol is meant to go up in it and then peak in the middle of the day. So it's like, if you start and you just shoot it straight up, like you say, it's already higher than what it is. And again, you're not being optimal for what you need. And I think try to get, we say to clients, it's like, how many hours are you getting? And a lot of them are like laptop workers, and it's like, again, building businesses, and I get it, they've got that drive, but it's like, I always challenge them and say, how productive are you? Like, in that hour, how productive are you? Could you not go to bed an hour early and get up an hour earlier? Go to bed an hour earlier, and get up an hour earlier and do that work the next morning. When you're productive, you're ready to go, you're fresh. Because are you actually being a bit of a busy fool?
100%, mate, because I've done it myself. And I've sat in that office and I've gone, do you know what? Just got to get this finished. And it's 9:30 at night. I'll just do it. I'll go to 10:30, I'll go to 11. It's the next day you think, right, okay, I'm going to leave that there, I'm going to carry on the next day. And it's like shit, you can't work properly, you can't think properly, you're focusing there, you're tired, lethargic. Whereas actually by the times that I've gone, no, this is the cut-off point, this is when I'm cutting off work, this is when I'm going to, stop and start to unwind and get an early night. The next day you're absolutely flying. And you get so much more done probably in the first couple of hours than you would if you just stayed there all night working, because there comes a point when it's like, diminishing returns. The longer you're spending there, it doesn't necessarily mean you're getting more work done and being more productive.
Well, obviously, experiences, and you can sell it yourself, like when we did the whole Tony Robbins thing, and they was on American time, so we was doing it in York on a laptop. They were all dancing around the studio, and me and you were like, it's at 4 a.m. in the morning, like 4 monsters in, and it's like, it's not a productive way to do it, but to do it at the time. And I get up the next day, and it's like, oh God, I feel like I've got hangover, because we were like 3-4 hours sleep, because we was going on their time to sleep, and again, then we had stuff to do through the day, and it is just like, we knew for the first couple of hours we might engage in that and like write notes, but as that time went on and we were getting more and more fatigued, it's like we was both just to the point where it were like there were no conversation between each other. We were just looking at the screen, and it was just like, please let this finish.
And you're listening, but you're not really absorbing.
No,
you're not absorbing. And certainly, if we'd have been asked to do something productive that was to come back to it, we wouldn't have been able to do that, right?
Well, obviously, like you say, your reactions and everything, like your cognitive abilities down.
So let's talk about some of the common problems that men have around sleep. And obviously, we kind of touched on stress. That's a huge one. And again, I suppose, just being generally busy, because, a lot of people are working late, and they're not able to switch off. Or they just have, a limited time in bed, because they do go to bed late, but they've got to get up early and stuff like that. So, you've got to really look at this. And the reason that the reason that they're thinking that they have to live like that is because they think that sleep is something that they don't need, or something that can be exchanged for doing this extra work and do what it is they need to do. But it will catch up with them. It will catch up with them. And that sleep debt that you create is very, very hard. It compounds. And sometimes, probably, you're not able to pay it back. And that's going to come to the, in the form of burnout, or, what happened to me before, migraines. I was getting really bad migraines because I was incredibly busy with the one-to-one. I was running different businesses in different cities, and I was all over the shop, and it just led to absolute burnout. And like you say, luckily I managed to get a grip of it, and give a couple of businesses away, moved on from things, and got a better schedule. But there's only so far you can push yourself with it, and like you say, I get it, everybody's busy, but this has to be something, if you want to be busy and productive, then it's got to be something that you really prioritise.
And that's like, be proactive instead of reactive. Like, when people are getting burnout, there's very, very few people that come out of it quickly. It's something that lasts for a long period of time, and it can go on to different things like mental health and stuff like that. So it's kind of being proactive and like, again, what can I just extend and do this tomorrow? Again, a lot of stuff with the guys of like the sleep is struggling to drop off because they've constantly got stuff going around in their mind. So it's like, well, do you know where you need to be tomorrow? Do you know what you need to do? And even if someone's not a business owner, someone watching this just wants to get into training, if you're training on a Tuesday and you're going to bed on a Monday night, have your bag packed at the end of their bed like you are going to school, because you will go on that pillow and you'll be just like, I know where I am tomorrow, I know what I'm doing, and I know everything's there for me to just seamlessly get up and go out the door. If you're laying in bed and going, I don't know where the towel is, I don't know where the boxes are, I don't know if this is washed, you are not going to go to sleep, because your stress is up, your cortisol's up, your brain's not switching off and going through that process.
But if you're going to work till late at night, then expect your brain to be fired up still. Expect you to be a little bit stressed. There's certain things that even when we work hard, we're not able to finish. Even when we work late, we're not able to completely finish these tasks, and it creates these open loops in our mind and things that play in our mind. And certainly if you're a business owner, you'll have laid there at night sometimes at 3 a.m. going, oh God, I need to send that email, I need to do this, or this isn't right, with the finances, or this project that we're doing, or whatever it is. There's always something that you can be thinking of because you've not closed the loops. So again, it comes down to being able to have proper time to unwind, because if you're literally pushing yourself up to the point of going to sleep, that's just going to be running around your mind as you're trying to sleep, and it's going to massively impact how well you sleep. And
just be a little bit aware of that. If you get a task come through for work that's 4 hours long at 9 p.m, don't start it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're not going to do 2 hours, go to bed.
Yeah.
So just like you say, set them boundaries. Again, obviously we'll come out of this like the consistent bedtimes, but try get into something that where you know what your switch off is, get into that routine of, I want to be in bed for said time, so I know I need to be logging off by this time.
And again, it's not just always work and stress and stuff like that. There's people's habits around food and eating too late. That has a big impact. I mean, if you're going to have a big meal right before you go to bed, then even though you might fall asleep and you're fine, you just sleep, you think you've had your last meal at 10 o'clock and you've gone to bed for 10:30, but that meal's still digesting. So your body's still working. So even though you're asleep, your body's internally working. And what's happened then? It's not allowing your body to really go into that good quality deep sleep, that good quality REM sleep, the restorative sleep that's going to restore your brain, restore your body, because you've given it a lot of food to digest and it's taking its time to do that. So you might be 2-3 hours into your sleep before you're actually able to drop into proper restorative sleep.
Yeah, so obviously your blood's going down to your stomach to digest that food. And that's quite common in it. Again, we said that in the previous podcast of people training late. Is it worthwhile then having a massive meal if we've got to go to bed? So it is unique to the person, but we obviously try to span 3 to 4 hours, don't we, pre-bed for people to do that.
Well, one of the frameworks that we could use, and we're going to talk about here, that you can use as an evening routine, because I think, they say, like, how do you win the day? Well, you win it the night before with how you set yourself up for the day. And the 3-2-1 framework that we can go through here is 3 hours before bed, no more food. 2 hours before bed, no more work, and 1 hour before bed, no more screens. So it's kind of just bringing you down a little bit. So it's letting your body digest its food and just get everything done that needs to be done on that side of things. No more work means starting to have a cut-off point and understanding that now, let's say you're due to go to bed at 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock's the time that we have no more work. So now we can actually start to unwind, stop thinking about stressful situations, stop thinking about things that need to be done tomorrow. Some people want to finish that work block with a to-do list for the next day, which I think is really powerful. Yeah. And one of the first times that I ever heard that, when I just started listening to podcasts, and it was some guy that was, talking about this stuff. And, I thought, wow, that's brilliant. It creates that clarity. So I can switch off now because I know that I've got X, Y, and Z that I need to do tomorrow. I know that I've got enough time to do it because I've already mapped it out. And now I can start to relax. I'm not anxious because sometimes I think it's anxiety of what we've got to do. And if it's not written down on paper or not written down in your journal or your phone or whatever it is that you do, the anxiety can lead to not sleeping right and stuff like this. So actually cutting off and having that cut-off point, stopping yourself working and just allowing your body to wind down. And then 1 hour before bed, no more screens. So, there is things you can do like by wearing the blue light blockers and stuff like this. But, no more screens. And again, it's not just the blue light, it's the stimulation that you're getting from that, depending on what you're watching. So actually allowing the body to unwind, that's, for me, that's a framework that really works, and a really basic one. You can obviously expand on that, and we might even touch on a podcast that's just about evening routines, because there's so much that you can put in there. Things like your baths. I mean, I've heard both sides of the story. A cold bath or a hot bath works for different reasons. I find either works, if I'm honest. I always sleep better after a bath, whether it's hot or cold. Like I said, done both ways. But yeah, like you said, there's one of the things I'm doing at the moment is 2 nights a week after jiu-jitsu, I'll go to have a swim in a jacuzzi, I'll jump in the sauna. And I always find that helps me sleep as well. Now, again, I don't know the science behind that, but I just know that I'm sleeping better. I'm putting it down to the fact that the sauna's kind of clearing my sinuses and I'm breathing a little bit better, and that's allowing me to sleep. But there's lots of different things that you can be doing that, again, you've got to go with what works for you. But creating your own evening routine is super important. But like you say, working it around that 3-2-1 framework is pretty powerful.
I think obviously with a sauna for you, it's a stress release, isn't it? That's a little bit of you time. So it's like where you go, and it's probably where you feel quite calm, and it's like, right, I'm just sitting here, I'm chilling. That, just like you say, I think you touched on as well, was saying about your evening routine the morning routine starts the evening before. But then also I think you've got to look at the other side of, like, the next evening routine is in that morning. It's like where you say about the list of things to do. What I do with the guys as well, a list of priority. So it's like if you've got a super important work task to do that you need, that's got a deadline, and you're not sure how long it's going to take, maybe getting up at 6 a.m. and starting that as opposed to going to the gym is more beneficial, because once you've done that, you're removing that thinking process, and then go to the gym after, because ultimately that missed workout is not going to yield massive detriment to you. But if you miss that work task then and you're out of a job, that's going to be more stressful than not.
Yeah, or like saying, if you're not out of a job, just the fact that you missed it and now you've got something to do, and it's that open loop that's on your mind again, and that stress means that probably by the time that you do get to the gym, you're not even thinking about your workout anyway, because you're still stressed out of your mind about the stuff that you're supposed to be doing at work. So, actually being able to do these things and get these things off your plate allows you just the freedom to think a little bit better, and like you say, get on with the task that you're supposed to be doing when you get to the gym.
And I think it goes back to what we said in the first episode with clarity, like clarity of a plan. So it's like, you're ticking the appropriate task off. So then, like you say, if you're starting the day in the gym and you've got an outstanding work task that should take more of your priority, you're already overthinking that decision. You've not got like, where do I go next? What do I do? Am I going to finish it? There's just, like you say, chaos and stress throughout the day, and then your cortisol is just on the rise and it's never going to come back down.
And it might be going off on a tangent here in that, because I do like to train on a morning, like to get it done and get it out of the way. But there is also massive, I have Wednesdays off work now, off the gym. So I can literally wake up and get straight into the office and start doing some of the creative stuff that we need to be doing for the Mansformation, marketing stuff, or is it stuff that we're building for the program. And I always work so much better off the back of good sleep, and straight into it. It really does. It really does work because, like you say, good sleep is going to improve that mental focus and cognitive function. Just works so much better, really.
I feel like obviously it's not a luxury that everyone does have, but like on Monday when I'm obviously back to back with check-ins, it's like I like get up, go for a walk, start check-ins, then go train after like saying doing 4 or 5 hours of them, because it's like I can then just bit of a stress response, get my own release, fill my own cup, and then come back and I feel like revitalised to do it again.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I go train first thing in the morning, whilst I'm training, I'm thinking of like, right, has someone checked in as this, as that? Are they expecting a response? And that's just the way I am, sort of my mental stuff. But I just prefer to do that because it gives me that little bit of clarity, and I've given enough, and then it's like, right, I can go do a little bit of my own thing now.
Yeah. So back to sleep anyway, and the creating the perfect environment for sleep, and this is something that you should be looking at as well. There's certain factors that you need to be taking into account when you are, trying to maximise the best quality of sleep. I mean, like I said last night, horrendous. It was boiling, and people don't sleep well when it's a warm room. I mean, can't tell that to my wife because she'd have the heating on full blast, full year round. But
full talk.
Yeah, honestly. But like for me and the majority of people in the world, actually having a cool room makes a big difference. So, like I say, we've been using the fan a little bit, recently because it has been really, really warm, and that's, it makes a difference bringing the temperature down a little bit.
Yeah, massively. So what does I say? 16 to 19 degrees is optimal.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's like, I've said this before about going on holiday. It's the best sleep of the, like for me, I like that sleep because you can just set the aircon, bang, and you come in that room, you just feel like you're ready to go. Like you say, this week has been horrendous, and fans do massively help, but setting your bedroom up for a place of where we sleep, it's not, you say, not sitting on a bed in a laptop, because then it's kind of like you're associating work with that, and it's like, no, that's where you want to be resting.
Yeah, or not eating in bed or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like TVs and all that sort of stuff. And again, some people like to go to bed and watch a movie, whatever. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying for optimal sleep, this is what should really happen. I mean, even obviously you've got the temperature of the room, very, very important, but how dark it is as well. Especially summer nights. If you are trying to get to bed a bit earlier, or you do want to make sure that you stay asleep till 7 o'clock or whatever, and it's sunshine by 5 a.m. or whatever it is at the moment. Having them blackout blinds. Some people like sleep masks, stuff like that. I don't know if I'd like to sleep on them, but certainly having the blackout blinds and keeping it as dark as possible is going to make a big difference.
You don't actually realise. So I was using a sleep mask, and it kept on coming off in the middle of the night. And Kat bought some blackout blinds, and like the difference of that first night, I was like, I didn't realise how light this room was, just from the street light outside to what it is now, and it's just like you can't see anything, and you drop off to sleep so much better.
Even little things like having electronics in your room. I mean, I don't know how many people have an alarm clock with a big display on anymore. Do you know what I mean? Most people use the phones, don't they? But even the TV, have a little red light on there, or like you say, if you have got other electronics that are in the room, them little lights as well can disturb you. So trying to get them switched off and stuff like that'll make a difference as well. Keep it as dark and as cool as you can, really. I mean, that's the perfect environment for getting a really good night's sleep.
Well, yeah, setting it up for success, like you say. While phones are in there, there's opportunity to swell on that as well, which again is just going down to not being optimal for what we need.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think as well, it makes sense, doesn't it, to have a quiet environment. And, maybe I'm quite lucky. I live in a very quiet street, so I don't get a lot of passing traffic through the night and stuff like that. But I think if you are, living on a main road or something like that, actually utilising a little bit of white noise. And again, I don't know if it's because we've had the fan on recently, that's quite calming, isn't it? It's like that little whirring noise in the background, and I feel that's helped me.
And then that goes, and you're like, where's that?
Yeah, it's weird when it goes off. And I've done it before when I've I love like the sound of the ocean. I love that, and that, you know, you put a YouTube thing on my phone and turn the screen upside down so I can just hear the waves, you know, on the phone. That's really calming as well, and that just helps you to kind of drift off to sleep. I don't know what it is about it, but obviously there's something behind white noise, and that can really work.
I don't know if this is true, but I feel like it's because you're focused on listening to that as opposed to thinking about anything else.
It makes sense.
So it's like you laid on a pillow going, I've got to do this tomorrow. It's like, well, in fact, I'm just going to zone in on that, and then you just drop off because you're just in a chilled state. But again, that's like trial and error, innit? White noise might work for you, it might not work for the next person. It's like, you've just got to trial these things and set yourself up and, like you say, monitor your sleep.
It's one of them, like I said, I've kind of done it just by not necessarily thinking, I need to get better sleep, so I'm going to listen to white noise. I put the odd thing on here and there, and sleep quality's just gone right up. So
100%. So keep using it.
Yeah, it's like anything, I suppose. Even not just having stuff on YouTube and that lot. If it's hammering down with rain outside and you can hear the rain coming down, that shit's quite relaxing, you know. So anything like that, really, and I suppose you're exactly right. You focus on that sound as opposed to the what's actually going on in your brain, and it helps you to just drop off. So yeah. Other stuff you can do, obviously, you know, it makes sense. Fresh air, clean bedding. You know, some people like smells and that, don't they? Lavender and all that sort of stuff. But you know, and obviously invest in a quality mattress as well. I think, you know, you're spending a third of your life in bed. if you're sleeping 8 hours a night, or if you're in bed for 8 hours a night, why wouldn't you invest in something that's, you know, going to support you? And you know, we've done it before when we slept on shitty mattresses and wake up with a bad neck and a bad back and stuff like that. That's only going to impair your training and your just general quality of life. So it makes sense to invest, if you can, in something that's going to keep you, you know, actually waking up feeling refreshed.
Like you say, again, giving yourself the best chance, like going on a crappy mattress that's really thin, it just going to get you not mad, but it's going to get you a little bit like, I'm not going to get sleep. You're thinking about that. You're more thinking about trying to get to sleep than actually getting to sleep. So like everything is about just setting yourself up for success, and that's not like go spend £1 million on everything or go spend this and go spend that, but do what you can of like go right back to the start. Everyone would benefit from getting the extra gains of what you would get from more sleep. Yeah. But very, very little people just want to try to improve that sleep.
So I suppose like first step that we were going to do, let's say that someone comes and they're getting to us and they're getting terrible sleep, and we know that this is an area that's, you know, once we fix this, we can see that there's going to be so many other benefits for them from what the lifestyle's currently like. I suppose the first thing we're going to try and do is create a set sleep time and a set wake time, right? And just create that consistency, because just like training, just like nutrition, sleep requires consistency if you're going to get the best out of it. So actually setting a 7-day plan, you know, so you're going to bed at the same time and you're waking up at the same time, 7 days a week.
So everyone's obviously going to be slightly different, but I would always say to a client, look across the week and what's the earliest day that you've got to get up. And if one day you've got to get up at 5 a.m, but every other day you've got to get up at 6 a.m, I would just say go with 5 a.m throughout the week, because every day that you're sleeping, you're just knocking back when obviously you see light, which is obviously going to have a little bit of effect of how you feel. It's like a little bit like a hangover, not as bad, but then it's you're getting that consistently, and then we would look to work 8 hours back from there. And again, I know people have kids and stuff like that, and it's not a luxury, but we want to work back as many hours from that as possible. Yeah. And then obviously that becomes your bedtime.
And even if you can't get the full 8 hours, if you've said, right, okay, I need to be up at 5 o'clock, you know, so I know that I need to be in bed at 9 o'clock, okay, and that can't happen because I have to go to bed at 10 o'clock because of whatever reason, okay, but what can we do with the evening routine to make sure that the time that we are actually spending in bed is quality time, and we're getting that good quality deep sleep and good quality REM sleep? And again, you know, just like we touched on previous podcasts, there's certain like order of importance that we'll go through, but actually just creating that set time as much as we can, followed by a good evening routine before to maximise the quality. That's probably the way that I would do it.
Yeah, like so knowing, even setting stuff like alarms. If you know to go to bed at 10, set an alarm for 9 o'clock to start putting the appropriate things in. What we've just
a lot of people do like a reverse alarm, I think they call it. It's also something I've called it. I've heard it before. And it's like, yeah, you know, like I say, if you were to bed at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that alarm goes off. Right, okay, screen's off. Stop working, whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe you go and have a bath or a shower or whatever. I'm just going to get my food ready for tomorrow, and I know that I can go to bed, read my book, do whatever, go to sleep. And you've got that sort of little routine, you know, organised. And again, I think people can just listen to this and go, oh, evening routine, it sounds like some hippie bullshit. Do you know what I mean?
It's
like,
not, is it?
Fucking works. It really works.
It's just stuff to do, like 10 o'clock. is sleep time.
Yeah.
You can't rock up to bed at 5 to 10 and start brushing your teeth and expect to be asleep. Because
exactly.
most commonly, like, people say on average, and this is not a statistic, this is what I'm guessing, like 15 minutes of like what people are going to take to drop off. No one does it instantaneously. No. So it's like, if you want to be asleep for 10 o'clock, we've got to be upstairs at 9, brushing teeth, getting bags packed, getting sorted to get in bed for past, because then at least if anything you're going to get a little bit more. But yeah, it's not sat there on bed, is it, meditating? If some people want to do that, but an evening routine is just removing the chaos from what's been going on in the day before, knowing your place of where you need to be tomorrow and what you need, and then just getting rid of all that before getting your head on the pillow.
And as well, people can, you said, I don't know how long it takes people to fall off to sleep. Well, like if you're wearing a device, like I've got the Oura Ring, there's the Whoop, the Apple Watch, the Garmin, whatever, there's a million of them in there. That's going to give you the data around your sleep. So you can go check the latency, which is, how long did it take me to fall asleep? And you can see the average for that. So you can then, on average, it takes me 15 minutes to go to sleep. Right, okay. So we probably need to be up there for 9:45 if we're trying to be asleep for 10, because that's going to fit in with us showing up the best that we possibly can the next day. So again, the more data we can get, just like in training, just like in nutrition, sleep, you can gather your data as well. And not everyone's going to want to invest in a device or wants to even wear a device, while they're asleep. There are apps that you can get out there that just have on your phone and leave it next to the bed and stuff like that. So it's worth looking at stuff like that as well. But if you can, like I say, that doesn't bother me at all. The Oura Ring, just part and parcel. And to be honest, it's quite addictive, because when I wake in the morning, I was sleeping, and I have a look and say, how much REM sleep I got and stuff like that, because I know that, that's going to kind of give me an indication. That data is going to give me an indication about how hard I can push that day. Oh shit, I was awake for this so long, or I didn't get much REM sleep, or I didn't get much deep sleep, and that's going to indicate that maybe you might still have a little bit of brain fog, or you might be a little bit tired when you go into the gym. And then I can take that data and I can adjust what I need to do based on this information.
I think that's something like for the listeners to aspire to, really. Like you obviously know the benefits of sleep. You love it, don't you? You've spent a lot of time and invested in it as well, and work with people for that. And I think like people, like, it's having that data and also making it worthwhile, not just getting up and going, oh yeah, my watch says I'm knackered. Yeah, I'm knackered. Yeah. It's like, how can we improve that? Like, it's not a game, but like, it's a scoreboard, isn't it? How can we improve that scoreboard and keep getting better?
I think it just brings a level of awareness to the situation, because I can see, oh shit, well, I didn't sleep that well last night, and maybe I'm not aware of that, right? But now I'm aware of it, and I can see actually for the last 2 nights I've not slept very well. Now I'm going to prioritise that early night tonight, or I'm going to just really dial in that evening routine, because maybe it's been a bit slack the couple of days before. This data allows you to make better decisions, and this is why the more data you can get, the better decision you can make. In a business, the more data you can get, the more you know the numbers, the better you can make decisions. When it comes to tracking your nutrition, the more information we have, the more we can tweak the calories. If we're just guessing, I think I had 3,000 calories yesterday, maybe I had 2,000, I don't know. Well, how the fuck are we supposed to work with that? Do you know what I mean? So you're not able to make informed decisions if you don't have the right data. So definitely look at, for me, I think getting some sort of device that you can track your sleep on is really, really important. And like you say, the more you know the numbers, the better you can improve whatever the situation is you're trying to improve.
And like you say, everyone has an iPhone, and everyone can get that app.
Yeah, Sleep Cycle, I think it is. And I think there's a free version.
There's a few now.
There's a few, there will be, yeah. The one that I used for was Sleep Cycle. Again, I don't really know how it did it, because, if there was 2 of you in the room, it would still just pick up my sleep, and it was by my bedside. So I don't really understand how it did it, but it did it. So it gives, and again, is it as accurate as a wearable? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know the science behind it, but it gives you some sort of idea, and it gives you a starting point. And do you know what? If you can take that starting point and improve things a little bit, maybe you do want to progress on something that's a bit more accurate, like a Whoop or a Garmin or an Oura Ring, because certainly I think for the little bit of investment that they are, the return that you get on energy and productivity, and how hard you can train and how well you stick to your diet, the benefits of that just huge. So for me, it's always worth investing in someone.
I mean, like you say, it's a step in it, and the end goal is to get a wearable, but do the free app. If it's something that you actually monitor and use and utilise, and then change your lifestyle around that, then 100% go spend. How much is an Oura Ring?
Yeah, I don't even know what they are now, to be honest. A couple $100 worth, do you know what I mean? So, but even on our programme, we had a sleep coach that designed like a 12-module sleep course inside the programme, and we've got the spreadsheets
Yeah,
that people
yeah.
fill in, just on how they feel and what time. It doesn't track the exact data, but it gives them something that they can start to fill in. So just start to write it down. What time I went to bed? What time I got up? How I feel this morning? How my energy is? How well I trained yesterday? What was my exercise like? All these little things that you can do that are then going to give you a bit more information and make you a little bit more aware about the situation, so you can go make the right changes. So that kind of covers, I think, what we wanted to talk about today on sleep and why it is a performance multiplier and why it's so important. And like you said, it's such a shame that people overlook it so much. But if you can dial this in, this is something that will change the game right across the board. So I think that's it from us, isn't it?
Yeah.
All
good.
Perfect. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Thank you.